Mm.
Our middle son, even our he's a musician. He used to have a choir.
Mm.
It was great when the choir when he had the stuffed animals because we could see the choir and we wouldn't step on them. But it was very difficult when the choir was invisible. My husband would walk and then he would have a fit. Dad, you stepped on my choir. Dude, he didn't see it. He didn't
Got in
see the
there like
choir.
Godzilla.
So developing that, and they will be so well rounded and rich if we just give them those hands-on experiences. It doesn't cost much. Just save the boxes. Your old pots and pans, let them go for what they know. They will
Mm.
be very creative. And then when you add and fold in the technology part, now they can use the technology to get more advanced in their building and their structures and whatever blocks. And it's amazing to watch them if they're given the opportunity to build those skills.
But creativity, it's such an important role in the development, not only as a child, but also in your adulthood, because it gives you purpose too, and it's true what you're saying, Dr. Blanton. Like, we need to read with a purpose, even if it's a purpose that we might dislike. And it also, you see it, like technology gives you immediate gratification. Reading is not going to give you right away. Sometimes it does, because if, let's say, you're reading something you like,
Mhm.
it's going to stimulate you. It's going to produce that dopamine that you so much like. But
Mhm.
not all the time, because sometimes you have to study up those large books of psychology. All right. And one of the things you were talking about, it's about the programs itself. And uh, our system is built where a school is as good as the incomes that surrounds them. And this is my personal belief. I do believe that that is the biggest opportunity. I'm from the Bronx originally,
Mhm.
very poor neighborhood,
Mhm.
and there wasn't really good programs. Let's say if I wanted to play a piano, there wasn't a program for a
Right.
piano. So how do you see that structure of income equals education? How could that help, like, for example, uh, those that live in a less privileged area? Because what I see is, like, if this was a race,
Mhm.
correct, and I'm from the Bronx, but you're from Long Island, you have a head start all the
Mhm.
way up here
Mhm.
versus me
Mhm.
paddling from the back.
Mhm.
Do you view that as
Mhm.
a issue?
It's a
And
barrier. It's a barrier. And that's where we need to call on the community, the village. So if we know that the schools are they cannot produce the programming, right? What are our churches? There's in every town, there's 50 million churches, right? What are they doing to meet children where they are, to bring them the experiences that they need, right? Are we taking students, building scholarships and taking students away camping?
Mm.
Are we opening up our doors on a Friday night for middle school students to come and kick it in a safe space where they can learn a little bit about whatever the religions that they want to learn about, wherever they are, um, and then play basketball or do some crocheting or some knitting or some poetry or a book review or something like that. Why can't we open up the churches? Why can't we open up the schools on a weekend and have community people such as yourselves and come in and run a program? What are our libraries doing? What are we doing when the children are in school and now they're out? What are we doing on the summer breaks? What are we doing on the winter breaks? What are we doing on the spring breaks? What are we doing on the weekend? Are we offering programs that will help supplement our neighborhood? We might have to bring in other resources, whether human or otherwise,
Mm.
to say, okay, we notice that a lot of our students they want to learn music, but we don't have the instruments. Okay, the churches have instruments. Okay, why not offer it? Because music and reading go hand in hand. We know that.
Mm.
So why not offer it? In my book, I ask a question. Is reading, um, so I think it was about 2000, 2002. The goal for United States is to have 90% of its citizens reading proficiently at a 12th grade level. Is that really the goal?
Hmm.
That's all I'm asking. I don't need anybody to answer it. Is that the goal? And if that is the goal, how are we meeting the goal? What are the objectives? What are we doing to meet that goal? Is it really a goal? Do we want every citizen in this country, 90%, to be proficient readers? What does that mean to a system that we have a caste system that was built in the United States? What would that do to that caste system
Hmm.
if everybody were readers? I don't think that it was so much of a change. We've always had a reading problem. There's always been a reading problem, right? COVID did not unveil this great big reading problem. COVID unveiled the access and accessibility, right? That woke us up. But we've always had a problem in this country with reading, going back to anti-literacy laws. So I just want to preface what I'm about to say with the fact that our brains were not wired to read. We have to teach it, right? It does this great thing. It rewires itself, right, to form pathways for reading to develop. A lot of people don't understand that. It's very different than language. Language, you can put a child in a room full of people who are speaking and they will speak. You don't have to teach them how to talk, right? That is not going to happen for reading. You cannot sit someone in a room full of people who are reading, whether they're reading out loud or silently. It's not going to happen. You have to teach it to read, right? That starts very early. What we think is reading starts in kindergarten, and then we build these habits in kindergarten. And if we think that, we're 5 years already behind, right? Reading starts really at the moment of conception. How? Well, all of the stuff that mom eats, all of the environmental pressures and stress impacts the developing brain. Reading is all about the brain. The brain is the main character, right? And so if we understand that, then we have a point of reference. And so how do we build stamina, right? Because in order to learn to read and read well, you have to build stamina. I'm like, this is a race, right? Not for the quick athlete, but it's endurance. And it took us years, decades to get here. My book has only been out since August. It's not going to take months for us to get out. And so people have to come to the point where I came to and say, okay, I reflected. Now I see, and now I'm going to do better. When you know better, you do better.